What's happening, y'all? This is Andrew from Mirror Music 99, and we're going to continue with our Nas reaction series for Magic 3, but also we're going to do something a little bit different later today, too. So be on the lookout for this as well. Some of you have asked me to do, actual, bar breakdowns, a really fine-tooth comb over some of his lyrics because they're so excellent, obviously. So I'm going to do a reaction to this, and then I'm going to stop the video, and I'm going to upload this. But then I'm going to actually break out the Telestrator here on the iPad and actually do some actual line-by-line breakdowns of some of the lyrics. This one's for Speechless Part 2. As we know, Speechless Part 1, or Speechless really, probably one of the great album leader tracks in Nas's career, according to Coop and according to Hip Hop, from what he said anyway. And that version of Speechless was about, I'm leaving them speechless, right? My skills are leaving them speechless. They can't do what I do, so I'm leaving them speechless, right? So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, as we know, Nas doesn't usually do anything unintentionally. So it'll be interesting to see the interplay between those two songs. This is conceived of as, or titled anyway, as like a part 2 of that thought process. So we'll see how it connects. It's also interesting, just at glance, this is the 13th out of 15 songs on Magic 3, whereas the original Speechless was the first song, I believe, on Magic 1 or Magic. So that's another, we've talked a lot about in this series about him doing full circle kind of stuff. So let's see how our full circle goes. This is Speechless Part 2. Ooh. That's some 70s too, right?
Yeah. It's coming up, right? Yeah. Yo. Yeah. Yeah.
Before I get into this whole lyric here in the song, it's interesting that even the sample that he picks here, and some of the samples too that he's picked for this album, seem to be 70s soul samples. I mean, that's what my ear hears there. But that style of music with the keys and it's got kind of a little bounce to it in a way that some other older soul music didn't have. That kind of style has come back around now. I see lots and lots of modern artists, in both white pop music world and in soul music world, R&B world, using that kind of style. And that's another one of those little winks, right? The old has become new again. I mean, it's just another example of that. I'm going to go back a couple seconds because that first line of this thing is super important. Check it out. Y'all some drug testers, right? That's the line that jumped, or one of the lines that jumped out at me the first time I ever heard the song, because it could mean two things, right? It could mean y'all are like the cops, right? You are drug testing people, which fits with his whole thing too, because one of the things that people have said about him on this run is that it's very unusual for somebody of his age to be doing what he's doing, right? To be on his skill level still. And when we talk about athletes who do that, we're often kind of winking at the idea they're on steroids or whatever. Obviously, there's no steroid that can, make rhymes like this. But so that's one possible meaning of that. But he's also y'all's drugs testers, like you the ones who are talking junk about him are the ones that are sampling the drugs for yourself. So he is both calling his opponent, I guess you would say in this line, he's calling them both drug addicts and cops at the same time, which is which is hard to do both of those at the same time.
Impressed with doing press kids. I'm good on looking desperate. I'm on the intersection, exit, just missed the pedestrian. Been etched in stone for years and still I got room for perfection. Sometimes I random check it.
That's another one of those full circle things. I've been etched in stone for years. what does he say? But now something about perfected, right?
Intersection exit, just missed the pedestrian. Been etched in stone for years, and still I got room for perfection.
I've been etched in stone for years, and still I got room for perfection. That's another one of those full circle. I feel like when I get to the end of the song, I will have said that sentence 17 times, but it's a full circle thing, right? It's, I have already made my bones, so to speak. I've already created a legacy, and I don't really have to do anything else. I'm already etched in stone, right? But I still got room for perfection. And that indicates, for one of the first times actually, why he continues to do it. And why any athlete continues, or any musician continues to do the thing when their legacy is already cemented, right? They're doing it because they love it, but because also they see flaws in what they've done before that other people wouldn't see, right? You see great athletes doing interviews after great victories, and they always talk about, or almost always talk about, oh, that one point they wish they had played better, or one shot that they should have hit, or whatever, right? So there's always the human part, right? And there's always a little bit of distance between what you're able to do and perfection, because humans are not robots, right? Which is ironic, because later in the song he addresses the humans and robots.
Sometimes I random check it just to see if I still got it. To see it is still shocking. Was lost for words.
So he says he's lost for words now.
Still selling out arenas and of course some merch. Got my
Oh, okay. So lost for words in here, like, is less. Okay, so the first time he uses it in Speechless, like the first one, like from 2 or 3 albums ago, he's using it as, I'm leaving you speechless, like you can't believe what I'm doing. In this way, he's saying I'm at a loss for words, which is doubly or triply ironic, right? Because you have the idea, if you say I'm at a loss for words, that means I can't believe what I'm doing, right? Or I can't believe what's happening. And he's talking about, stadium shows and arena shows and that kind of thing. In the I can't believe what my life has become way, right? But it is perfect and beautiful and ironic that he's using words for that. And his whole, career, the only reason, originally anyway, that anybody knows who he is because of his words, right? So for that guy, one of the preeminent lyricists in any genre in any what we think of as pop music history, like say post 1950, to say that I'm out of words, so to speak, is another kind of jarring metaphor too. And it's perfect because it's almost the end of Magic 3. It's almost the end of the finale, as he said. But he also has 2 more songs after this too. So it's funny. He's not poking fun at himself a little bit, but I just want you to see it has several different meanings there.
Nomination, I directed my first docu-series. The EGOT is near me.
EGOT.
Oscar Tony, this is not no theory. Pouring bottles of Hennessy. Got me talking choppy.
Oh, so he's pronouncing Hennessy, obviously, like Hennessy, to rhyme with EGOT. I mean, not with EGOT, really, but it's that sound in it. And got me talking choppy. So I don't know, he doesn't do that very much, does he? Where he not mispronounces words, but creates an alternate pronunciation for a word to make it fit with the flow. It's beautiful. I mean, poets do that all the time, where they play with the rhythm and meaning of words and change the pronunciation or the intended pronunciation of words to fit with the meter, or fit with the flow, I guess you would call it here. So again, he's putting himself in the canon of, I hate saying real poets, but people that like the Shakespeares of the world and the Walt Whitmans of the world, right?
Over sample chops from Chauncey, I'm lost for words. Was lost for words. My mom told me clean the room, never shot with saving son.
It's full circle, right? When it's back to his childhood.
Death, I had a key around my neck on a string, a curfew guess, a time to be back at my rest. And my peers I would protect. There was P.O. on the steps, slipped when our sneakers got wet. Scared to grab that tech, but I had to get my respect. I was lost for words. My guess is someone to replace your soul. AI is only here to replicate and control, imitating the original, then grab them a mold of the binary code. It's your patterns they stole. This my tactical flow, the one they can't redesign. You can redo the voice, but you could never read my mind.
I remember listening to that line the first time and being like, oh, right. That's one of those lines that jumped out. I think I texted Coop about it too, like the first time I heard it. And it's an important thing to address the advent of artificial intelligence and how it's weaving its way into the art world, right? I mean, there are AI things that can recreate pieces of art or create pieces of art, and most of them are pretty bad, but like there are some that are pretty good. There are ones that can write poems and ones that can write essays for you, as I've learned as an English teacher. There are ones that can create rhymes, right? And none of them, and I've made this point on my other channel too, I might put a link to that video down there too, but like they don't have the human spirit in them. And what Nas does that no artificial intelligence can do is connect things that don't seem connected, right? AI can use metaphor, right? I mean, that is possible. You can tell it, use a metaphor and blah, blah, blah. But it can't make those leaps of thought and those connections that only can come from having lived a life, right? Because what AI is doing is pulling, is essentially reading the history of everybody who's written about this and kind of pulling the greatest hits, right? And what he's able to do, and what all great artists can do, is use that, use their own life experiences and pull pieces from it. And since the computers don't have those lived experiences really, they can't do what he's doing. They can copy my voice, but they can never read my mind, right? Oh, that goes with the loss for words too, right? It goes with the loss for words because they could be taking his words, but he's saying you can't take my words, and he's right. Let's jump back. Oh, why did that jump back so far? Hold on, I'm gonna try to hit the right place.
Earth left, and she was here since my first steps. Therefore, my first words, I asked her where was my work desk to put rulers to paper, draw measurements, use them later, punch numbers and calculators. I'm happy to say I made it. Lost for words, I'm speechless. I'm lost for words at the state of my nation's consciousness. Either you woke or nationalist is the politics.
Either you're woke or nationalist is the politics. That's like two sides that are as far apart as you can get. And I think that's one of the things that music does generally, is try to bring people together. And I think that's what he's trying to do as well. Again, full circle, right?
For words for black babies with low confidence. You could do it too if I win, says the optimist. You ever see a wordless book that does not exist? Say no more, I move letters like Don Cornelius. Rest in peace.
You guys, I assume everybody watching this knows who Don Cornelius is, if you're less Soul Train inclined, which fits too, actually, because all of these samples on all of these songs are soul songs, pretty much, right? So Don Cornelius was like the host of Soul Train, for those of you who don't know, and they played a game where they like flipped around letters, where they had kind of, I guess they were really like scrambled up, right? And the dancers had to like rearrange the letters to spell out the name of like the people who were performing or something. It's been a while since I've watched the old Soul Trains, but that's how I remember it anyway. So again, Don Cornelius would have been, I don't even know when Soul Train started. I think in the 70s, maybe even in the 60s, but definitely in the 70s. And it would have started, I think, if memory serves from what I've read about it, about the same time Nas was born too, right? So it's another one of those things that is taking old things and making them new. Rest in peace, Don Cornelius. As he says.
Lost for words, I'm speechless.
I love that. I love also that the last what, like 25 seconds or 20 seconds of that is just playing it out, right? Just the music part, which is a loss for words, right? It takes the words part out, even though the sample has some words in it. I think actually I cut some of a piece of a verse out of there accidentally. I'm sorry for that. I will get probably into it in the next video. Again, just to remind everybody, be on the lookout later this afternoon for an actual bar breakdown where I'm going to take some of the lyrics and actually put them up on the screen and use the Telestrator, the whatever it's called, stylus is the word I'm looking for, to actually show you how he puts together some of this stuff. I'm looking forward to getting to do that. I love this song. It's excellent, as are all of them, and I'll see you later this afternoon, and I'll see you next time. Take care, y'all.